Hey, Faithful, this is Jason from Voice of the Niner Faithful. Welcome back to another episode. Today we'll be diving into a breaking down of the Week 12 loss against the Packers and preparing for the Bills tomorrow night. But before we jump in, let's make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest 49ers news and analysis from a fan's point of view. Now, let's get into it. First part, obviously, the Packers game recap. It was a tough loss against the Packers. Injuries piled up again, and the team struggled in the 38-10 defeat, especially here in Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, which is where I'm at. I'm not actually at Lambeau, obviously, but I'm in Wisconsin. So Brandon Allen's first start as a Niner, he stepped up, and because Purdy obviously was hurt, he had moments of promise. That touchdown drive, capped off by Kittle's touchdown, but inconsistencies just plagued the offense. Allen went 17 for 29 for 199 yards with a touchdown and an interception. I'm not blaming him on that interception. I'm going to blame Debo on that interception. That he should have caught that. There was another play off, obviously, that Debo should have caught as well. But even if he caught those, I still think just the way that the whole offense in general was playing, yeah, well, the defense also had a lot of struggles. I think I read 20 missed tackles. It was horrible. But even without no Nick Bosa, there were a few bright spots. Sam, I'm going to kill his last name. Oki Owa, Sam O. Really long name. I'm going to kill it, so I'm not even going to try. He earned his first NFL start, tallying up 3 tackles and holding his own. And Leonard Floyd, he actually did have 2 big sacks, and he kept some pressure on Jordan Love. So that's what we wanted him for, right? We wanted him. He needed to. He wasn't. It didn't seem that throughout the whole season that Leonard Floyd was picking it up, but I think as the season's going on, he's doing better. So even as bad as it was, there were a few bright spots there. Another silver lining thing, Kittle moved into third place for the most receptions in 49ers history. The People's tight end continues to deliver even in the bad games, tough games. You can't do without George. If he does, if anything, in the future, he needs to be part of this team. Some key takeaways, obviously the penalties and the turnovers. Whew. I don't know. Whenever I start doing this podcast, I seem to want to yawn. Turnovers and penalties absolutely killed the 49ers' momentum. Anytime that they had something going, something would happen. 2 critical turnovers in the second half and 9 penalties for 77 yards made it impossible to mount a comeback. Christian McCaffrey was limited to just 31 rushing yards. The team's inability to establish the run is becoming a terrible pattern. This is something we need to work on. Personal preference, I would like Shanahan to split more instead of trying to concentrate on just one running back. He needs to do an even split between him and Mason. I think that would work a whole lot better, but as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm just a fan. So Green Bay dominated on the ground, 169 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Without key players like Bosa and Fred Warner at full strength, I'm sure we all heard about what Fred Warner is going through with his broken bone in his ankle or foot or something like that, and he's still playing through it. The defense, they just look fatigued and way overmatched. Tomorrow, looking ahead to Buffalo, snowy. Even if it stops snowing or at game time it's only lightly snowing, that field is going to be covered. They're going to have, I read that they're going to have, they went out and said, hey, Buffalo fans, come into the stadium and help us shovel. And yeah, it's crazy. But it's going to be interesting. Here's what we need to know about that game. Injury updates. The Niners do expect Brock Purdy back, which is huge. However, Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, even Dre Greenlaw, who I thought would be able to make it back by this game, they're all going to remain out. It's a tough pill to swallow against one of the league's best teams, but we'll see how it goes. The weather conditions, well, like I mentioned before, it's going to be a winter wonderland in Buffalo with 2 to 3 feet. I live in Wisconsin. We don't get feet, at least where I'm at. I'm in southeastern Wisconsin, kind of between the capital of Madison and everyone knows Milwaukee. Sometimes we might get 6 to 8 inches, but this is 2 to 3 freaking feet. Lake effect snow could lead to whiteout conditions, making running the ball and limiting turnovers critical. I mean, we cannot turn the ball over no matter how bad the weather gets. We cannot. We know what happens when we keep turning the ball over. Some of the key matchups to look for are Malik Collins versus James Cook. Collins will need to step up to contain Buffalo's run game. Dominic Pooney in the offensive line. With Buffalo's weak run defense, this is a chance for the offensive line to redeem themselves. They really need to stick it to the defense of Buffalo. Buffalo, if they have any major issues, it's their run defense. We have a chance. We need, like I mentioned earlier, we need to get them so that they are just getting pounded by our runs. And we need to split the runs. We need to, hell, in this game, I think we need to use all three equally, not Christian McCaffrey, most of it, and 1 or 2 runs for Mason and 1 run for Guerrero. No, it needs to be 10 to 15 for CMC, 10 to 15 for Jordan Mason, 10 to 15 for Guerrero. We need to keep it even. We need to keep them fresh. But again, I'm just a fan. Deebo Samuel has to have a bounce back game and dominant in the short passing game to keep drives alive. That's another thing we need to get. He needs to go. He can't keep dropping the ball. Those 2 big drops, especially the one that that turned into an interception. The whole team's got to just get into the game more, like Deebo said to our kicker back a few games, and yeah, that just needs to change. The stars in the outlook of the game. 49ers star players need to shine brighter than ever this game. Brock Purdy's return is going to help, but questions obviously remain about his ceiling. How is he going to play? Is his shoulder really better? Christian McCaffrey must rediscover his 2023 form. And Fred Warner has to lead the defense against MVP front runner Josh Allen. At 5-6, the road to the playoffs feels really steep, but hope isn't all lost. The team has to play disciplined, inspired football to turn things around. The whole of the NFC West is wide open because the whole NFC West is having similar issues to us. I'm going to say this, and I've been saying it for weeks. Shoot, I even think I might have said it at the beginning of the year. Our season's chances will come down to Week 18 against Cardinals. Whoever wins that game will win the NFC West and get into the playoffs. I think the other 3 teams, whoever it might be, even if it's us, will not make the playoffs. I still will have faith that we can do it, even if we do lose at Buffalo. Our hardest game after Buffalo, I think, is going to be the Lions. I think we can still win the NFC West. And as the rest of the season goes on, we will get healthier and healthier every week so that when we do make the playoffs, and I am predicting that right now, we will win the division and get into playoffs. We will be our healthiest at the beginning of the playoffs, and we will make a deep run. I'm an optimist. There are fellow faithful out there that are saying, all right, we're done for the season. We need to start considering what we're going to do next. Who are we going to draft? All that kind of thing. And I understand your pain. I understand your frustration. That does not make you any less faithful than myself or anybody else. It's completely understandable. But for myself, I am going to consider my optimism, and I am going to keep saying that until we are completely out. When they say that the 49ers are no longer mathematically able to make the playoffs, then I'll worry about next year. This year, though, we're still in it. We still have a chance, and I think we can do it. So, that's it for this episode of Voice of Niner Faithful. Thank you for tuning in as we broke down the Packers game and we previewed the snowy showdown with the Bills. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And the past couple of weeks have been a little rough for me. I've been really busy and, planning holiday stuff and all that. And I'm going to get back into doing my shorts. So there's like 3 or 4 shorts that will be happening between now and my next episode. So look for that. And stay faithful. Go Niner Empire.